Speaking of Gohan, possibly the most contentious when it comes to his mistakes in the fight against Super Buu.
The Gohan stock skyrockets from this point on, bro. Catch the goddamn ring! If you tell me Gohan is the main problem, especially given that he could have just been stronger to begin with, I'm not gonna argue you, because it gets pretty bad. Whether you view it as the Buu Saga or the Buu Saga, one thing is for certain is that any Dragon Ball fan that has seen the last arc of Dragon Ball Z's anime, or Reddit, we can't read. Anybody that has seen the anime will certainly tell you that the Buu Saga is not perfect. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have peaks that are arguably the peakiest in all of Dragon Ball, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't a good arc or even great arc in general. But the Buu Saga definitely has its mistakes. I think everyone would agree with that across the board. And today, my boy, my birthday twin, God is here to tell us the many mistakes in the Buu Saga, as well as I'm going to potentially add extra yap to it or debunk it. I don't know. That's what these YouTube reactions are. They're not quite like the anime reactions. These are just like talking points with a canvas. You feel me? Subscribe for more.
In all of Dragon Ball Z, I think the Cell Saga is the one that is caused by the most mistakes made by our main cast of characters. But like I said in that...
Yeah, I'm sorry to pause 7 seconds into it. Yeah, I think this is the arc where, sure, the Cell Saga, you could point to, okay, this character did something S tier egregious. This character did something S tier egregious. The Buu Saga is not necessarily like, for some of you, Goku throwing a sensu bean, or Krillin not stepping on a remote, or Vegeta letting Cell live. Buu Saga has those kind of things. But it's not even necessarily, I think, like peak stupidity is in the Buu Saga. I just think there's a lot of people that are like culprits of stupidity in the Buu Saga, if that makes sense. Like a quantity thing.
Video, the Buu Saga is a close second, starting with Gohan's bad decision of not keeping up with his training. While he didn't stop training,
you had to punch him below the belt. Why you did that, we don't know, but you had to punch them below the belt. We all know that all of this is avoided if Gohan's just not weak. we all know. Do you understand? Buu literally could spawn, and because Gohan exists, realistically speaking, this shouldn't be a problem. But it is because, you know, I like books. And mind you, I know that's gonna seem like a crazy clip, but like, I rock with the fact that Gohan just isn't a Goku or Vegeta and wanted to fight all the time. But it's just a principle of, you know, that's low-key arguably the biggest mistake is that Gohan wasn't in shape, so.
Entirely and was just not training at the intensity and frequency he'd need to grow stronger or even maintain the full power he had as a child. This is going against his father's final wishes for him and the entire Earth. Let's not forget, Gohan has absurd potential, so he possibly could have handled the entire Buu Saga on his own had he kept growing stronger over the 7-year time
I just said that.
I'll give him a slight pass, though, since he hasn't really known prolonged peace since before he was 4 years old.
AKA he hasn't known it ever because unless he's one of the smartest 3-year-olds alive, bro can't tell you 5 things that was peaceful in his life.
After this, we jump way forward to the tournament where even Goku knows Videl should just concede to Spopovich or take the ring out. She's clearly no match for him, putting her own life in danger, but even more important than that, she's enraging Gohan, something that seemingly...
I just want to know why she doesn't unlock Ultra Instinct. You thought I was smiling at her again? No. I was smiling at the fact that this anime didn't do my glorious queen justice. Instead, we're sitting here watching her get pummeled by fucking Spopovich, when it should have been right then and there, done. It should have been a start of a brand new main character right then and there, and even that bit aside, I'm not trolling, like dead ass, you could have just made Videl a more interesting character. You really didn't need to do her that dirty. I mean, the beat down I'm for, but like after that kind of just fucks off and becomes, you know, a wife. It's not saying being a wife's a bad thing, but what the fuck, man?
Leads to Gohan using Super Saiyan.
Like seriously, no troll. What about Videl? What the f? Like, goddamn, bruh. It's really hitting me right now. It's like 1 in the morning for me, chat. Comment section, I'm sorry. And I have like tired man's brain. I've been working all fucking day. But like, what about Videl is one of the greatest bits in TSO history, but sometimes I really just sit there and yap. And I'm like, yo, Videl really should have been a fantastic character. And it just, I don't know, girl.
And 2 against Kibito. That energy is stolen by Spopovich and Yamu and leads to Buu getting over half the energy required for his resurrection. But let's be fair here, Supreme Kai and Kibito are even more to blame.
Oh yeah, but he's stupid.
Did they not properly assess the power of the fighters on Earth, leading to a pretty drastic underestimation in how they planned to handle Babidi and his minions, but they didn't fully relay the plan immediately. Goku
he's
trusts
stupid.
gods and has been with a Kai.
Not gonna lie, Delilah did insane PR for that guy, because I used to think by far and wide the character I hate the most is the Supreme Kai. Now, I don't know. But yeah, no, he's a fucking moron.
For the last 7 years in heaven. Even Piccolo immediately agrees to the authority of Supreme Kai due to his position in the universe. While Vegeta might not agree still, I think Goku could have convinced Gohan to use some of his power to draw out Spopovich and Yamu without giving Babidi nearly half of what they need for Buu's resurrection for absolutely no reason. There's a world where base Gohan powers up enough to draw out Spopovich and Yamu while giving Buu, at minimum, 100 times less energy to potentially be revived with. Again though, if Kibito and Shin had more information on the fighters on Earth, Kibito could have just asked Gohan to power up in his base form to draw out Spopovich and Yamu. This mistake is really easily avoided if they either had good intel or shared the plan, so not doing either is just a huge mistake.
Insane foreshadowing to one of the biggest problems of the goddamn Buu Saga. Really to every problem in Dragon Ball. Now I think about it, Dragon Ball characters do this thing of not telling other characters on their side what the plan is. Like even just an arc ago, if Goku just told everybody, hey yo, it's Gohan, shit just moves different. Why do they do that?
This lack of transparency from Supreme Kai and Kibito also leads to the minor mistake of Android 18 staying behind. Due to her having an infinite energy system instead of normal ki, she probably has energy that Babidi can't use towards the revival of Majin Buu, just like they specifically can't use Supreme Kai and Kibito for Buu's revival either. And now we've made it to our new vacation destination. Welcome to the wasteland of poor choices, where you can find Gohan potentially not using Super Saiyan 2 against Dabra. I know this one is contentious, but this does not look like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and we know Toriyama knew Gohan can use Super Saiyan 2 because he used it during the tournament. Though based on the characters' reactions to Gohan fighting Dabra, it's possible this is actually Super Saiyan 2 and just a design inconsistency, so only count it as a possible mistake.
Yeah, I am actually team he was using Super Saiyan 2 for the reason he just highlighted. I think it's pretty weird dialogue for Gohan to have been a base or a regular Super Saiyan, I'm sorry, and they to be like, yeah, he was weaker than he was as a top. Well, I mean, shit. so yeah, I think he's Super Saiyan 2 there.
Definitely a mistake, though, is Goku stopping Vegeta from helping Gohan, who's clearly struggling at least a little bit against Dabra. Hell, even Goku helping his son himself would be better than letting this fight drag out, potentially giving Buu some energy from any damage that Gohan takes, and ultimately giving Dabra a chance to notice that Vegeta is a bit different from everyone else.
Yeah.
Though we all know in the end, that's Vegeta's mistake. He gets upset because you realize Super Saiyan 2 Goku is stronger than him and feels like his fight date with Goku got interrupted, so now he willingly lets himself be used by an evil warlock so he can close the gap in power while still having a reason to fight. He could have just accepted that he was weaker than Goku and still had a fight with him after they easily stopped Buu's resurrection, but nope, that would make too much damn sense.
You know what would make even more sense and was like not a character, not a character flaw at all. It works because it's a character flaw. Don't take that the wrong way. But because just a logical flaw here from Vegeta. If you know Goku's stronger than you, why do you want power that's not yours to surpass him? Like, was getting the W by any means possible really satisfying as a warrior, especially a warrior with pride that wants to win in his way with undenied, unyielding power? Saiyan power per se. It never was a weird thing because, you know, it's Vegeta. He would do something emotional and therefore something kind of stupid. But it was just like, wouldn't you not want to do it that way? Like, I don't see Super Vegeta doing this. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why it works, is because it's irrational. It's because it's emotional. This is not slander towards the idea of Majin Vegeta. I know some of you guys don't listen. You only listen to negative stuff, and then I see red, I see slander and type. No, I think that's why Majin Vegeta works, because it did make a lot of sense. But you know, Vegeta, get your shit together. It's come to the point. And also this piece of shit, fuck. Look, I'm a Goku fan. So for any Vegeta fan out there that, again, didn't listen and think I just slandered their guy, oh no, I ain't gonna lie. Buu Saga Goku, you're getting a lot of shit out of me, buddy. You're a troll. You're just the biggest troll. And I think of all Dragon Ball arcs, this arc, this character is the biggest troll. I'll low-key down that hot take. He's kind of like what we thought Gohan could be if he was training, except incarnate. Like, oh, okay, Goku just wins the Buu Saga, LOL, and he just doesn't fucking feel like it. And on so many different levels. But I'm gonna let the video play because it's already been 11 minutes and I haven't even got past the 5-minute mark in the actual fucking video.
Doesn't excuse Goku from not using Super Saiyan 3 against Majin Vegeta, though. We know Babidi's minions being defeated doesn't give Buu energy, and a fighter has to get damaged to give energy as well. So Goku using Super Saiyan 3 just for a moment so he could quickly knock out Vegeta was by far the best option. If he had the time to use it to stall Buu later on, he definitely had time to use it against Vegeta for one decisive blow. Don't let his excuse from later on deceive you. Let's leave the wasteland, though, and go to Capsule Corp, where Bulma and the others have summoned Shenron, which is pretty premature. Sure, they don't know anything besides the fact that Vegeta killed a lot of people at the tournament, but they don't know if that issue is even resolved yet or anything that led up to him becoming evil again. Usually, the characters are smart enough to make sure the problem is actually solved first before wishing everything be put back to normal, except in situations where there's no other choice, and here, there definitely was another choice, like collecting the Dragon Balls, but just holding on to them instead. What's an even weirder mistake, though, is the fact that despite the wish being to revive every good person that died, everyone still thinks Gohan is dead. Sure, Vegeta became evil, and even then he was revived by Shenron in the Frieza Saga. Yes, that was Shenron, not Porunga, so he can't be revived again. No, Dende's upgrade on the Dragon Balls never removed this limitation. Gohan, on the other hand, hasn't ever been revived, so if they thought he was dead, they should have known he'd be alive now for sure, and if they had that information, maybe King Kai could have connected Goku to him, letting the cast on Earth know about Gohan's training and allowing the kids fusing to be the backup plan rather than the bet they place everything on. You could even
you know, I knew that, but like when you put it that way, you guys are pretty fucking stupid.
argue that Supreme
I love this show.
Can train Gohan in the time chamber once he has the Z Sword, since he has over a year remaining that he can still use. Which, now that I think about it, is also true for Goten and Trunks. Why not just put him in the Room of Spirit and Time? Piccolo actually suggests this, but Goku seems to care more about them having the full 2 days in the time chamber for a potential future threat instead of using at least a little bit of that time now for the threat at hand.
Because he has complete control over the fucking scenario, but trolls the entire fucking... Carthu's gonna say that doesn't make sense. I think it makes sense. I literally think that makes sense. Goku's like, nah, we don't need it for Buu. We're good. I got that. I don't even think that's wrong, but he's a fucking troll. He made sure that they no longer had that. And now, in hindsight, yeah, it would have worked out. But no, I think Goku was right until he decided to be fucking wrong, bro. I love my GOAT, but he's such a fucking troll in this arc. I laugh at it because it worked, but my God, your kids could have died.
Doesn't make any sense, especially when Goku is willing to use Gohan's precious time in the time chamber in the last arc. It's pretty clear he's expecting more from both the power of the kids and the power of the fusion itself. He thinks just fusing and no training will be enough for Gotenks to beat Majin Buu, but I actually doubt that. Remember, for Super Buu, it took Goten and Trunks training in the time chamber and unlocking Super Saiyan 3 as Gotenks just to equal him. So is Super Buu really that much stronger than Fat Buu that Gotenks without training and just regular Super Saiyan could have beaten him? Then you have Piccolo, who sensed Super Saiyan 3 Goku and thought correctly that Goku could beat Buu. But he's only skeptically impressed with Gotenks' ki, needing further proof to be sure that they can beat Buu at all. Even if it is possibly true that they could win that fight, it's just a huge and unnecessary gamble on Goku's part for seemingly no reason. A gamble like, I don't know, not killing Buu when he had the chance like I just mentioned. Whether you
I don't even need to overyap that. I mean, we all know that shit was nasty. Come on.
You consider this in character or not, I don't really care, since the point of these mistake videos is to show how characters are flawed and make interesting mistakes that let the story happen.
Thank you. I will say this, despite the fact that it seems like this is a Buu Saga hate video, I think Karthu is not doing a Buu Saga hate video. I don't think that the reactor, hi, Sage here, is doing a Buu Saga hate video. No, the point of these kind of videos is to do two things. One, just to call out the mistakes of the arc from the characters, but then two, to highlight how, like, it's good for character flaws and mistakes to happen. If everything was thought out logically, you get kind of boring shit. And it also kind of makes characters feel a little bit unrealistic, per se. Like I was talking about with Majin and Vegeta earlier, and why I was like ripping Vegeta fan 246 that's not going to listen to anything I fucking said and take that as a negative thing towards their character. If Majin Vegeta isn't this kind of somewhat hypocritical, somewhat delusional bastard, you don't really get, one, a significant payoff later in the arc, but then two, you kind of don't feel like this was Vegeta here. You kind of just feel like this was a strangely well thought out version of Vegeta, that even if that had to be canon, someone knowing anime, someone would comment, it's really well thought out of you, Vegeta, because that's not who he was as a personality. Vegeta 100% is the type of guy that, hey, 90% of the time, my pride, my power, it must be me. Frieza and Goku? Fuck them niggas. I want it any way possible. So that's, you know what I'm saying? I think when we do videos like this as, not even as creators, but just topics like this, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're talking with your bro, your boys, your gal, whatever, I think you guys hear criticism or mistakes being calling out in arcs, you don't realize it's out of low-key appreciation for it. If every character was optimal, so I guess there's an anime out there where it works, but a lot of the time it'd just be fucking boring.
Definitely one of them. Goku admitting he didn't kill Buu when he could have just to try and let the kids handle it is really dumb. I get it. He's dead and thinks he'll be dead forever, but when the goal of uplifting the next generation is ultimately to protect Earth, I think not protecting the Earth and that next generation is a mistake. Especially when you realize that later in the arc, the Earth gets destroyed and the next generation gets killed, which is something that's avoidable if Goku killed Buu on his own. Speaking of Goku stalling Buu, that only happens because the smartest woman on Earth is dumb as bricks. She knew.
Yeah, we could talk about Bulma in a second. I agree with Karthu there. I thought I was going to disagree with him, but no, I agree with him for one sheer fact. You could, if you're Goku, you could easily kill Buu and then let that be the wake-up call. And then if that's not the wake-up call, then you need to find a different successor. But that Majin Buu spawning in and everyone seeing that, yeah, you couldn't really stop any of that shit that was about to go on right then and there. And maybe even if Goku had to drag out the fight a bit. Unfortunately, he was on a limited time due to the nature of Super Saiyan 3. But if in a perfect world, if Goku can drag out the fight to really illustrate like, yo, y'all are lucky I'm here some fucking how, because you guys would be fucked because he's not training, you two are mature, and you're just not strong enough yet anyway. Y'all need to get your shit together because I've only been here for 1 day and it's been nothing but, oh my God, we could have all died. It could have been a heavy inspiration for the next generation. Basically, he could have heavily inspired the next generation while also protecting them. I don't know why he felt like they had to get the kill to inspire them.
The Dragon Balls would be needed again in the near future, even mentioning that her parents opted to stay behind with their pets, knowing they could be revived in the worst case scenario. So Bulma, how are you gonna revive your parents without the Dragon Radar? You know, the radar you apparently can't remake with the materials you have? Why would you leave that behind in this situation? Of course, Goku should kill Buu if he can, but Bulma's mistake is ultimately the reason he has to reveal Super Saiyan 3 and burn away his remaining time on Earth. Time that he could have used to better assess the threat and potentially even realize that they need the time chamber once a successful Super Saiyan fusion occurs. Now, remember that later destruction of Earth I mentioned? It's why I don't even think it's that big of a mistake for Piccolo to have Super Buu kill every person on Earth. It was going to happen later anyway, so it probably didn't matter. Though, Now, I will say this could have severely backfired if Super Buu actually did kill Mr. Satan, but ultimately, I think the death and destruction on Earth are mostly Goku's fault after a certain point. Especially since Piccolo thought it would take Buu time to wipe out the planet's population, he was doing it for a good and justifiable reason, even if it didn't work out as intended. This would have even been a safe gamble if the Dragon Balls weren't used prematurely and were just collected already, but I'm sure you get the point by now. Honestly, Goku's overall faith in the kids is definitely a mistake that leads to this outcome. They're not nearly as mature as Gohan was and had to be due to them leading a life of peace compared to Gohan's nearly non-stop combat tour since he was 4 years old.
Correct.
Their immaturity is a clear oversight in Goku's plan. Take the fact that Gotenks shouldn't have hidden Super Saiyan 3 from Piccolo. Even if Gotenks couldn't beat Super Buu as a Super Saiyan 3 because he was only equal or barely stronger than him, fighting Super Buu in the Room of Spirit and Time could have spared a lot of death and destruction, and not doing so almost led to the Earth's Dragon Balls being deactivated. It would also delay Piccolo destroying the exit, buying more time before Buu could escape from the dimension. But I think this is one of those mistakes that ended up working out since Gotenks needed Super Saiyan 3 to exit, so he'd need to wait to fuse again if the timer ran out, assuming they're not just dead if that happens. And due to time being slower outside the Room of Spirit and Time, they'd be buying the world minutes at most, likely not even close to enough time for Gohan to get to Earth much faster. Speaking of Gohan, he is possibly the most contentious when it comes to his mistakes in the fight against Super Buu.
So I've already spoiled it. In the Cell Saga video, I waited to the end. This one, I just think it's Goku. I'm sorry. The Gohan stock skyrockets from this point on, bro. I mean, from dude, kill him, same way your father could have, to, gee, I don't know, catch the goddamn ring! And everything in between. Gohan, anybody that says nah, Sage, it's Gohan, proceed, dog. I don't like saying Vegeta has more blame than Goku here, because Goku goes with it and then could have stopped it. But if you tell me, yo, Gohan is the main problem, especially given that he could have just been stronger to begin with, I'm not gonna argue you, because it gets pretty bad.
According to the Dragon Ball Super anime, Gohan was drunk on power when he fought Super Buu, but was he actually? He only fought him for one chapter in the manga before Super Buu blew up, so was it really his fault? I take it as a little his fault, but Buu's escape is an ultimately unavoidable outcome. Gohan is undeniably arrogant and overconfident here, choosing to talk about how superior he is instead of finishing the fight, and later in a scene that parallels the Cell Saga, Goku screams for Gohan to finish off Buu before he can absorb.
I'm about to say, I'm not gonna make the. He's probably gonna have a good argument for it. I'm not gonna be on that side though. I think the narrative is just too much of Gohan's making the same mistake. So I mean, literally a panel like this. This is why I fucks with Card through, because he'll at least present the counter argument to whatever claim he has. But yeah, no, I would be on the counter side here. Yeah, no, I think the narrative is just way too strong, strongly implying, if not directly telling you, yeah, he's doing the same thing he did as a Tide. It's kind of crazy.
Piccolo and Gotenks, showing that Gohan's hesitancy is possibly to blame in this moment as well, and that Goku believes Gohan can kill Buu in an instant, something he should have done when he first walked up to him in their initial fight. There's also the fact that Gohan shouldn't have let the kids get involved at all. I get that they're baited into fusing, but if Piccolo is skeptical about Buu's motives, then Gohan should be as well. Instead, Gohan is way too relaxed because of his newfound power, and that's ultimately why Buu isn't defeated right then and there. The next mistake isn't super bad or anything, but if Elder Kai could have given his life up for Goku so he could go back to Earth and help, he probably should have done it sooner. Goku could have gone back to Earth to help train the kids, and with instant transmission, they'd actually have the ability to escape close calls relatively easily. It just seems like if he cares about the assured future of the universe, which is the reason he agrees to give up his life for Goku in the first place,
Kai slander I will gladly take and support.
Then he should have done so sooner. Again,
fuck this guy.
Ultimately not a huge deal, but it does seem like a mistake to me, especially since his death doesn't even really change his current situation. However, it wasn't a mistake for Elder Kai to give Goku the Potara, but who's to blame for Gohan not catching the earring? For some reason I can't explain, people clown on Gohan for this, like his ass wasn't just beat within an inch of his life. Meanwhile, Goku over here was freshly brought back to life and does—
Nah. Don't get me wrong. You have an excellent point. Goku could hit Gohan with the, hey, here's a ring. Hey, here's an earring, put it on. He could have handed it to him, for sure. Could have handed him the earring. He literally, could have handed him the earring. But god damn it, be a fucking athlete, Gohan! I don't give a fuck if he's delirious. You understand? Hey, Kevin Durant. Didn't nobody give KD nothing for being delirious in that overtime. Nobody gives LeBron when LeBron's cramping up in San Antonio. Nobody care about him being delirious and hurting and no. Anybody and don't get me started with football. Even though you should care about them injuries the most. If you're on the field, you're 100%. You're healthy. Nah, son, not this piece of shit. Fuck. Lock in, catch the goddamn earring, and then him. Oh, I can't find it. Goofy. Nah. Your son is supposed to be a one of one athlete, and he sucked. Not Goku's fault.
Such a bad throw, Stephen A. Smith would yell about it for 3 years, which is no surprise since he's definitely never played catch with Gohan a day in his life. But it's even funnier when you remember he can teleport. He could just spawn in right in front of Gohan and even put the earring on himself if he wanted to. Even Goku goes on to realize how dumb this decision was because he puts the earring directly in Vegeta's hand after.
This is the ooh. Hey, chat. What football team's quarterback needs to just accept that this is how they had to treat their wideouts? Nothing over the shoulder. You ain't gonna catch that. Put that bitch in his chest. Which quarterback needs to accept his fate and pull a Goku? Because I'm not blaming Goku for sorry-ass receivers. I'm not doing it. I refuse. I blame Goku for 99% of this arc. And that nigga being sorry? Nah. Tell Gohan to step his shit up.
So yeah, this is a Goku mistake, and I don't want to hear it.
Nah,
so
you will.
Now that Goku handed the Potara to Vegeta and they fused, I'm sure you're expecting me to talk about Vegito's many mistakes or arrogance, but I only think he made one mistake.
Yeah, I don't get the. Well, no, I do understand it. There's Gogeta fans that have to shit on Vegito, but no, the only thing Vegito does, to me at least, is kind of like bank on the fact that one, he's stuck forever, which is, to be fair, you know, he can't really predict that he would be unfused. But then two, his whole gimmick is just, okay, I free them and then we win. LOL GGs. He doesn't really quite piece together that, oh shit, probably should eliminate the guy that's sitting here pouting and getting smaller and stuff. Like, nah, like, even though he wasn't Vegito anymore, he could have just finished that off or whatever. Vegito should have won is what I'm getting at. And maybe sacrificed everyone in the process. I don't know, man. Maybe you go multiverses. Yo! I'm happy I'm having these 1 a.m. delirious yaps. I've yet to see that comment section, so hopefully on this video I'll see it this time. What the fuck happened with multiverses? You guys sat there and like loved that shit, and then I go on Twitter, it's like hated across the fucking board.
You see, Vegito gets absorbed on purpose. This is a specific plan to save the people that Buu absorbed.
Yeah,
Defusing wasn't a part of that plan, and if he didn't want to save everyone, he could have and would have killed Buu. The mistake here is that there are Dragon Balls, and those make it a pretty dumb decision. The people in Buu he's trying to save could just be revived by the Dragon Balls, or at worst, the Namekian Dragon Balls. And we know Goku is capable of reaching New Namek on his own if needed. The plan itself is actually fine though, so I don't fault Vegito too.
But Buu's magic might have held. I'm not. That's just a good point. I didn't think of that.
Much for what he did. But Vegeta crushing the Potara is without a doubt a mistake. Like, what was the plan if Buu just wasn't weak enough for them to kill on their own? Happens, by the way. And Gohan or Goten and Trunks aren't able to fight immediately after being freed.
Happens.
Which happens, by the way. Even Goku says this was a mistake, and he loves the idea of fighting on his own. Combine this with Vegeta's next mistake of removing Good Buu from Super Buu, and it gets even worse.
Yeah.
Super Buu was definitely less eager to destroy the Earth and far more manipulatable than Kid Buu, which could have bought them time for a lot of things, like Dende healing Goten, Trunks, and Gohan, or even Kibito Kai could have done it if he teleported to Earth again. While Super Saiyan 3 Goku is too weak for Super Buu by his own admission, he probably could hold off Super Buu for a little bit at least. So this is a pretty plausible possibility. Just use the threat of removing Good Buu as a way to ensure they escape, or Goku could stall an escape with Super Saiyan 3. Of course, we can't ignore Goku not saving Goten, Trunks, and Gohan before the Earth was destroyed instead of Mr. Satan and Dende.
I'm glad he did this. The ends don't justify the fucking means. This was not the good move.
I understand is technically a mistake, since regardless of anything else, the Namekian Dragon Balls could still restore the Earth, and by extension, Dende and Mr. Satan, especially since it's basically guaranteed that Gotenks and or Gohan could have beaten Kid Buu. That's the reason Toriyama kills them off after all. It adds tension, and honestly, it's not really a mistake. Goku himself didn't have time to teleport, and they needed to be saved by Kibito Kai. It was either save Dende and Mr. Satan, or save no one, since they weren't near the others at that point. The actual mistake is him not just deflecting this blast. We've already seen in this arc that Goku can transform into Super...
That's fair too. I'm gonna say you save your son though, bro, personally. Save your fucking tot, keep it pushing. But no, this is definitely fair. I haven't thought of this one either. Damn, why didn't he just the blast starts chasing him and everything. Why didn't he just deflect that? Maybe he was tired. I don't know.
Instantly at this point. So just do that again. I mean, he literally does do it again in the very next chapter. So it's not a one-off, and even if that blast is stronger than his last, it should still be something that Super Saiyan 3 Goku could handle, since he still thinks he can handle Kid Buu again in the very next chapter. If Goku could have deflected the attack or just bought time by pushing it back, Kibito Kai could have saved everyone else before Goku teleports away from Earth. So Earth might still get destroyed, but they'd have a much easier time killing Buu, so it's probably more than worth it. Luckily, Goku and Vegeta can still fuse to beat Buu with the second set of Potara, and nope, Goku gives the earring back and Vegeta destroys the one he's given. Very
I love those guys.
smart. I'm sure that won't be something Goku considers a mistake in just a few short chapters. Oh right,
Nope.
He does that. But somehow, even with all of that, the arc manages to end happily. All the mistakes of the characters in the Buu Saga lead to the ending working.
Yep, because Boo's sorry. It's like, nah, it's just a lot of Mick going on, man. It's okay. I mean, come on. You can't get mad at me for calling the ending Mickey, bro. Not Mickey in the sense of bad, but Mickey in the sense of, really? Mr. Satan saved you guys, really? You really are a hero? Which is a fire fucking line. Again, these criticisms are me just fucking around trying to trigger you guys. You know what's interesting though? As I'm gonna finish the rest of this video, I've always had this argument. If you condense the Buu Saga and only talk about the peak moments, you will manipulate yourself into thinking this is the greatest arc of all fucking time. And I do mean that. I'm not saying that to even slander the Buu Saga. I'm saying it has a ton of its mistakes. It has pacing issues, in my personal opinion. It has a lot of head scratchy ass shit. But if you sit there and just name the best moments of the Buu Saga and even accurately describe the characters, you'd sit there and be like, damn, that gotta be the best arc in Dragon Ball. Now, I don't think that is the case when you watch the arc, read the arc, but it's just... My love-hate relationship for this arc literally becomes more of a question mark by the day. It doesn't grow or get worse. It's just genuinely a question mark.
We're all flawed and make mistakes, but if we come together, unite what we're each good at, and use it all in one moment of perfect teamwork, we can overcome anything.
Why are you buying my goat like that? But if you guys want to see more just Japanese versions of these Dragon Ball videos, I understand they're still technically reactions, but I kind of just use these videos to like get my own yap off on, and I just kind of felt like talking about the Buu Saga because, like I said, my love-hate relationship with this arc is just a question mark. I don't know how I feel about the Buu Saga every day. But let me know how you feel about the arc. Let me know how you feel about the mistakes. Let me know if you think I'm bugging. If I'm bugging, it's probably because I'm fucking tired and a combination of me being stupid. Subscribe for more content. It's me and boy TSO Sage. Take care. Stay blessed. I'm streaming tomorrow, but I'm going to sleep right now, dog. I'm cooked.